Hello and welcome back to Gatekeeper Media's coverage of the 2021 Utah Open driven by Innova. This is round 2, back 9 coverage. I'm Nate Perkins, joined here with my good friend and United States champion, James Conrad.
Thank you to everyone tuning back in for the back 9. The front 9, we saw a lot of the teeth that the fort has to offer. We definitely saw some people getting into trouble. We saw some really good birdies. The scores weren't too hot. Ricky had the best front 9 on our card with a 3 down. Emerson got in with a 1 down. 8 pars and 1 birdie. That's pretty clean. Then we had Klein, who shot even on the front, and Dustin Keegan struggled a bit, coming in at 3 over on the front 9. Let's see if these guys can clean it up and stack up some birdies on the back.
Yeah, we were just speaking about it. We think that the back 9 gets a little easier to keep it clean on. Not necessarily that much easier to score birdies on, but not quite as much danger here on the back. Looking at the Flight Factory drone preview of hole 10. It's a par 4 coming in at 600 feet. It's got a late triple Mando. You really need to keep this one straight, and you need at least 400, maybe 425 off the tee. I think have a good angle into the pin, and
that's insane.
Is huge. That is again the biggest drive I've ever seen on this hole. He's looking straight down the Mando. That's all of 550, 560 right there.
Yeah, I think he nearly got pin high. He's looking kind of dog legs left through that triple Mando, and I think he'll almost be jump putting through the triple Mando.
Oh, and great angle on this DD3 from Dustin. And that gives you a good idea of how far Ricky threw it. Dustin ripped that DD3 on a good angle, and he's in position. He's going to have a hyzer through that Mando.
I think if he could place it anywhere, he would probably go about 50 feet right of where he went, just to open up the angle into the basket, but he definitely has a strong chance of scoring from there. Emerson with a similar shot to Dustin, just getting a little further past him, but both of them, I'm sure, are content with those. I think this is an ideal drive. You see is quite a bit right from where Dustin and Emerson landed, so that angle opens up considerably.
And Dustin has made the triple Mando, throwing the mutant there for that really steep hyzer.
Oh, bad little kick. It might be a tricky putt, but he's looking for a birdie. It's very well executed from Emerson. That ground is very sandy, so it can be difficult to get that little skip.
And Ricky is jump putting.
Wow.
That is something else, James. Dustin just strong on that straddle jump putt.
Kyle just low. I'm sure they'd both like another crack at those putts. This almost feels like a must-get birdie. When you're within 200 feet of the basket, just trying to get up and down for birdie, it definitely feels like a blunder to not score on that. Great approach from Emerson for the tap-in birdie, and Ricky with a drop-in.
All right, hole 11, 484, par 3. The low shot is incredibly technical. The trees are thick. I believe the high shot is going to be the most popular line on this hole. And Ricky taking this PD2 and just yanking it over. Stabling up just a little early, but hard to tell where he landed right there.
It is hard to tell. I think we'll see all these guys shoot for that high line. There's a bit of airspace short right of the basket, as you can see just now. And I think that is the intended line, to kind of stall one out to the right and fade back through that airspace. But beyond just parking the hole or getting a birdie look, going high like that takes out all the early trouble. There's a ton of barrier of guardian trees short of the basket, and so if you hit early at all on this hole, you're going to have an extremely difficult approach to save par. I think that could be very good.
Oh yeah, we can see it coming in here now, and he's going to have the best look of the group.
I think a slightly straighter line could have gotten him a little closer to the basket. It seemed to stall out and fade just early of the pin, but anything up there inside circle 2 is a phenomenal drive. Ooh.
Ooh, that looked like he had the height.
He liked it out of his hand.
Yeah, he did.
Oh.
And he thought he dropped it in there, and oh man, it's just rolling straight back to him.
Looked like a steep hyzer angle he had to putt that on.
And look what Emerson is left with for his par. Paige Pierce looking on in the background.
Yes!
Oh my goodness, what a putt.
Emerson has been putting extremely well this round, this whole tournament.
Give him the Gatekeeper rewind. That was gorgeous.
Great.
That's a good par.
Yeah, great comeback.
Yeah, Kyle's just been just off the mark. He's not playing bad, but he's just not quite scoring.
The Destroyer is essential on tour. One of the most versatile distance drivers in Innova's lineup. The new Halo plastic is probably the prettiest plastic that Innova has in their lineup. It makes for a really cool disc to bag. Very confident in throwing the Destroyer and keeping it in bounds at far ranges.
Moving on to hole 12. This is actually a similar distance to the previous hole, but this one is a par 4. You have to keep your drive low, you have to keep it really tight. The drive's asking for a slight hyzer with a right-handed backhand shot. Yes, that looks very well done. Oh no, there's a tree there, but that's very close to what you want.
Yeah.
There's a stump up there that you can't quite see from here, but if you go to drive anywhere near this stump, you have a good chance of getting up and down.
And James, not to overlook, but we had just one birdie on hole 11, the previous hole, during round 2. I believe you parked it?
Yeah, I was able to park that one, and I wasn't even sure it was possible, but Bradley Williams actually helped me out, showing me the ideal line, and then I was able to execute it.
Kyle Klein going origin here, and look at that. That is past the middle tree, and we're going to take a look at Dustin Keegan in slow motion here. Already noticed he has that exaggerated wrist curl around this MD3.
He gets the disc so flat and right across his chest. I really like Dustin's throw.
Shout out to Gatekeeper Media for the form checks. It's really a treat for all of us. And this is such a tricky approach. Ricky going Firebird here. No.
Wow.
That is so impressive. Even for a forehand master, that was, I mean, he pured that gap. And you can see just how many small trees there are to get in your way.
There are kind of two ways to approach this green. You can take that forehand or that left to right shot coming in, as Ricky just showed us, or you can come in from the right, kind of how Kyle did.
And look, he hits a tree. the tiniest tree possible, but it doesn't care. It still stops the disc either way, if it's a big tree or a little tree. And Emerson just outside the circle.
Yes!
And that is a scrambly birdie right there. Hit him with the Gatekeeper rewind. And he just
dunked
that
it.
Pocket on the hyzer.
That was
What a birdie. He went forehand off the tee over on the left side and then had an incredibly tough forehand scramble shot up into the fence and then makes that for the birdie to keep pace with Rick, who's inside 20 feet here for birdie.
Yeah, that was a big putt. I think we will see a lot of people kind of utilize this fence. As you can see, it's quite close to the basket, so you can kind of blast an upshot into the fence and get a little bounce off of it right in there for a short putt.
Right, hole 13. Not the shortest hole on the course, actually, but another curveball here. Only 215 feet. You can see elevated pin here. There is an OB creek. Only 15 feet long and right of this bucket here. This is going to be the most popular play. Just a little chip forehand. And that was just a little too inside with Ricky's Firebird and Emerson going with that Bruins justice here.
He throws this disc extremely well.
Yeah, look at the touch that he displays.
A nice skip, perfectly executed.
And Kyle's lining up a vertical shot with this tilt.
It's nearly a grenade, but holding the disc normal right side up, that disc is just so overstable that it comes almost vertical straight down.
Dustin going glow FD3 here. Perfect.
Perfect.
So Kyle's putting straight at that OB creek.
No fear.
Oh, and it looked like he dropped it in there and off the rim and in the out of bounds creek.
Such a close two-stroke swing. You know, if that goes in, birdie, misses, bogey. Those are tough ones, but props to him for running it.
And Dustin nailing that tester putt. Even this one right here is enough to test you because that cameraman is standing and out of bounds. So if Emerson misses this, you know, it's going to be OB. And like you said, one of those two-stroke swings.
I actually attempted a forehand on this hole, Nate. Shows how little option there is for a standard backhand. I think in this coming week I may practice a few over-the-top shots. I may try some grenades. I may try a little tomahawk or thumber. There's definitely room to come in from above the basket or from the left, but not really any chance straight on. Moving on to hole 14. This is a par 4. The tee shot's asking for a low shot that kind of skips and finishes to the left. Then there's a creek that is out of bounds, and then there's kind of a tunnel approaching the basket from the right-hand side. So getting to the left and then throwing a right to left shot towards the basket is going to be what these guys are shooting for.
Oh, man, Emerson really whips the disc, really gets that core involved, and look at that one just skate across the ground there. He is in position with that Ballista Pro shot.
Okay.
Yeah, it gets a little ground play. That's a little short and out of position, but anything past this first gap is good. This is a really low ceiling, very specific and demanding drive.
Rick threw that one a little too high, but he didn't catch too much of the tree. It didn't slow his disc down a ton, and he should have a chance. That looked like an ideal height. Big skip. Yeah, right up there by Emerson. Great shot.
Oh, just pulled that one a little right. Left of that tree is the line he's going for, and Ricky has... Oh, it looked like he had piered it, but just caught a little bit of the tree and slowed him down.
I think he'll be in circle 2, though.
Yeah, he's well across the creek.
That push just a little long before hyzering. That back wall of trees kind of tightens up the closer you get to the basket. So a lot of times a shot that looks good will still end up catching that back wall and leave a tester putt. I like that angle. Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Perfect.
goodness, Emerson Keith, what an approach on that forehand Anheuser.
I always enjoy seeing people take the Anheuser when it's like a hyzer or an Anheuser, and opting for that Anheuser is, they just fly differently, a little more fun. And Ricky with an amazing bid from about 60 feet, just a little too much gas, keeps it high.
And that is a typical spot to land there from Kyle, pushing that one too long. This hole 14's approach is so tricky, as we've seen. Rick looked like he piered it. Kyle kind of looked like he piered it. Ricky coming up short, Kyle going a little too long. And I believe that's why Emerson showed us, he matched the fairway perfectly with that Anheuser, and it's kind of hard to do on the hyzer angle.
Absolutely.
Disc golf is a relatively young sport, but its popularity makes it one of the fastest growing pastimes in the world. The PDGA is a not-for-profit, worldwide player organization dedicated to promoting the sport. Like a long drive off the tee, disc golf is soaring. So don't just be a witness to disc golf's explosive growth, be a part of it. Join the PDGA.
Hole 15, we're looking straight through the initial gap here. Those trees are only 25, 30 feet off the pad, so it's tight, but you don't see too many players hit those trees, especially here on the lead card.
They're more of a mental obstacle than a physical one. For the type of shot you're throwing, you wouldn't really throw outside of that gap anyway, but it just gives you something extra you have to think about, and maybe takes a little focus off what you're trying to do with the disc later.
And Ricky wants nothing to do with that gap, though. And there were a couple people around the pad there that worked on this course, and they were kind of joking with Ricky that they should put a Mando there, and Ricky said, yeah, I would prefer a Mando there, but if it's not, I'm taking that hyzer all day.
I hadn't even looked at that. I might have to this week in practice.
Dustin going low MD3 here. Oh, and he finds the pocket on the right side and just parks the hole.
This hole is deceptively difficult, just 315 feet, but the ceiling is quite low, and then you have that log on the ground about 40 or 45 feet shy of the basket. So you have to really get the height just right. Yes.
Oh, and he knew it. Gatekeeper rewind. And the moment that he knows that he's dropped it in. What a good looking putt. Yeah, this is one of those, it's got a lot going on the green here. Anything on the left side or short right here is pretty obstructed.
Wow, Emerson matching him. That looked like he went through the trees.
It did look like he went through the trees. And that is 4 in a row for Emerson Keith to keep pace with Ricky Wysocki. This is quite the battle that we have going on, and look how much separation they have from the rest of the card now.
Yeah, they all started within one stroke, and as you can see, Ricky and Emerson are really turning on the heat here. Moving on to hole 16. This is an island hole. You're teeing off really high above the basket on this mound. There's a short wall short of the basket, and that indicates the beginning of the island. And then the water, obviously long. The biggest challenge is speed control, getting it over that wall without going long into the pond.
Yeah, this is the signature hole of the course. This might actually be one of the signature holes out here in the western United States. I mean, you're looking right at the mountain range, and we're actually teeing off. Oh! And that is going to be out of bounds. He's going right to a drop zone, but we're actually teeing off on a Native American mount here. It's actually a real treat that we're even allowed to climb these stairs and tee off. They call it the fort for a reason. This was a legitimate fort, and they built this mount up as a method for defense. So, pretty cool history here on hole 16.
Very cool.
Oh, no.
No.
No way. It
was a huge
dry,
bounce.
But it's just outside the line, and that is a heartbreaker for Kyle Klein.
It's kind of this. Yeah, it's tough when you just have one of those days. You know, it feels like he's been playing good disc golf and really giving himself chances, just not quite scoring. And here's another two-stroke swing. If that stays in, he's putting for birdie, and instead he's looking at a 50-plus foot par putt. So Emerson, this is a big putt. All three of his opponents on the card missed the island. They're all sitting there looking for bogeys, and he's got a circle one putt to get two strokes on each of those people.
Laser focus there.
Yes, great birdie.
And just one of the few players near the top of the game that has such an exaggerated spin from that left hip. Really difficult to stay consistent with that putt, but when he is on, he is on. Hole 17, 648 feet, par 4. We're teeing off on this dock over the pond. It's about 320 to clear the water, but you need closer to 400 feet to get into the ideal landing zone.
There are quite a few options. I think most players are going to go quite a bit left before trying to come back into the right. I think the gap even further left than that is going to be the one that most players are shooting for, but really any of those gaps on that side of the bank can give you a chance.
Yeah, we're going to see some big forehands on that left gap, and we're also going to see this shot right here that Ricky's attempting. This is one of his straighter destroyers. He's going big Annie through that left gap.
Hold.
Almost.
Almost.
If he got that wing a little bit further down.
With how far he's been throwing today, he might have had a jump putt if that disc went clean. He's been really throwing the disc hard.
Don't. Oh. And those trees, we've said it, James, during practice, that those trees are going to be the heartbreaker trees, because if you square either of those three up in the middle, you could definitely kick back and into the pond.
Absolutely.
And we are going to be taking a look at Emerson, pound for pound, one of the further throwers in the world. Getting a good look at his forehand here. One thing I like about Emerson is how much trust he has. He actually takes his eyes off of the target. We're going to see it right here. He's going to look back down. And that lag with the elbow, again, it's just, he's got so much flexibility, and that elbow is just leading through.
Ooh, close one. This is another, you kind of have dual options approaching the green. I think most players are going to take this left gap that is pretty direct. It's still not a large gap though. You have to have a really precise shot to get up there for a birdie. Or if you're further right on the tee shot, there's also a similar gap coming in from the right-hand side. Oh, no. think this rough patch that Ricky and Dustin found will be pretty common. If you blast your drive a little too straight, that's kind of right where it sends you. That was a good scramble, though. He's got to give himself a chance for birdie.
Wow, what a shot from out of position. Can Emerson go 5 in a row from distance?
That may have been for 6. I think he birdied 12 through 16.
Wow.
I think this hole we'll see a lot of those long birdie looks. It's pretty easy to get a par on this hole, but it's pretty hard to actually get up there for a circle 1 birdie.
Yeah, it seems to be a common theme out here at the fort. I think we're going to have a very exciting World Championships.
It was a great scramble birdie from Rick. He was in the rough, but was able to get just enough room to pop a forehand up there to the edge of circle and convert. Moving into hole 18 at the fort. In just under 2 weeks, a world champion will be decided on this hole. And it's a great finishing hole. Very challenging. There's a lot of out of bounds on either side. There's a Mando. The drive, you have to clear this lake and try to get a little left to have a chance at looking down the fairway.
Ooh, that T-bird needs to slow down. No. Oh, and that is just out of bounds. You can see, you can't really see the out of bounds line from the tee pad here. There's some tassels in the ground, but you really just have to know the distance. And Ricky just a few feet long, and I believe you go straight to a drop zone if you do find the out of bounds on this tee shot.
That's correct. There's 2 drop zones on the hole, one for any out of bounds on the tee shot. There's another one for Amanda that comes into play on the second shot.
And while this tee shot is demanding, the approach on this par 4 is even more demanding. The runway to the green is maybe 40 feet from left to right, and then the only inbounds is the circle.
Correct. And with this Mando on the corner, it a lot of times forces big left to right shots if you're trying to attack the birdie.
And Emerson has that justice in his hands. He's just going chip shot to keep it safe, and that's going to be a pretty common play. If you don't get into the prime landing zone, it's really hard to attack this one. Oh, and Kyle is attacking. Look at this shot.
Catch that circle 1. Come on. Oh!
Stop!
Wow.
Oh my gosh!
That was amazing.
Kyle Klein from so far out of position. I believe that was an original night strike on a huge ante. Kicks off the log and stays in bounds.
Spectacular shot. Ricky with a routine upshot for him. That's from the drop zone, so that will be a par. He can convert.
Here's a good look at that runway. And Emerson finds the circle there, and this is, you said it, this is going to make for a very exciting finishing hole for the world title. So much can happen.
Absolutely.
This is for birdie. Kyle was out of position. What?
That's amazing.
A finish to a tough round for Klein.
Yes, another great par putt from Emerson. He was able to keep a clean round today, and it got him the lead today.
Bogey free?
Bogey free. I don't think he missed any putts inside circle one. I'm not sure if he even has this tournament yet. He's really putting on a show, and I can't wait to see the finale tomorrow. Him and Rick have kind of pulled away from the field. I think they have 6 on third place.
Wow.
But out here at the fort, anything could happen on Sunday.
Taking a look at the scores here, and look at that back 9 from Emerson Keith. It is hard to string him together at the fort, and he got 5 in a row. Ricky with the 1 bogey on the back, missing the island there. And Levi Hancock and Dallin Blanchard are going to be joining us on the lead card tomorrow. James, thank you so much for joining me, man. Quite the treat.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Thank you to everyone tuning in and following Gatekeeper Media.
Guys, hit that like button. It helps the crew out quite a bit. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Nate Perkins. He's James Conrad, and we will see you for the conclusion of the Utah Open tomorrow.